Welcome all. Today's presentation is titled, Criteria for Life and Modes of Heterotrophic Nutrition. We will explore the fascinating subject of life processes and nutrition, as well as take a deep dive into understanding the signs that help us identify the signs of life. Let's begin. All life is characterized by movement. No external force is needed for things that are living, they move, whether physically in the action of body parts or molecularly, unseen but necessary for life processes to take place. Molecules move within cells and tissues, and are vital for life processes to happen. Organisms must take in and metabolize food for energy in order to sustain life, which is known as nutrition. Respiratory processes enable the release of energy from food with the help of oxygen. Transportation circulates food, oxygen, water and waste around the body, and excretion is the process through which waste products are removed. All of these processes working in tandem allow for the complex and intricate biological systems to keep organisms alive. Nutrition plays a critical role in living organisms. All living things need to take in material from the outside world to grow, repair damaged body parts and to obtain energy. The raw materials required by most living organisms consist of food, water, and air. Nutrition can be further split into two categories: autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic nutrition is where organisms can create their own food from simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water. Examples of this are plants and some bacteria. Heterotrophic nutrition requires organisms to obtain their food directly or indirectly from plants. Examples of this are animals, fungi, and some bacteria. Additionally, there are three main types of heterotrophic nutrition: saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic nutritions. Heterotrophic nutrition is a type of nutrition where organisms rely on other organisms for their food source. Through this, three methods of nutritional uptake can be seen: saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition requires obtaining food from dead and decaying organisms, such as mushrooms, bread mold, yeast, and certain bacteria. Parasitic nutrition involves getting nutrients from living organisms without killing them, like cuscuta, orchids, ticks, lice, leeches, roundworms, tapeworms, and plasmodium. Lastly, holozoic nutrition involves organisms taking their food directly and digesting and absorbing it, like amoeba, paramecium, birds, fishes, and humans. Plants need photosynthesis to survive. This process, in which water, carbon dioxide and sunlight in the presence of chlorophyll are converted into energy-rich carbohydrates, releases oxygen. The equation for photosynthesis is 6CO2 plus 12H2O, with sunlight and chlorophyll providing the catalyst, resulting in the products C6 hydrogen oxide plus 6H2O plus 6O2. It involves three key steps: the absorption of light energy by the chlorophyll, the conversion of light energy into chemical energy, and the reduction of carbon dioxide by hydrogen to form carbohydrates. Photosynthesis is vital for plants, and it is also the foundation of life for all other organisms, since it produces the oxygen that is essential for life. Chlorophyll is an essential molecule for plants, as it allows them to capture light energy from the sun and turn it into chemical energy through photosynthesis. This chemical energy is then used to provide sustenance for the plant. Found in the chloroplasts of the plant cells, chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight that strikes it, and utilizes this energy to create food molecules. This process is vital for the life of the plant, helping it to grow and survive. Chlorophyll plays a crucial part in keeping life on our planet functioning. Stomata are found in leaves, allowing for the exchange of gases between the plant and its environment. They are each surrounded by two guard cells, which regulate the size of the stomatal pore. When the guard cells absorb water, they swell and the pore opens, and when they lose water, they contract and the pore closes. Photosynthesis is a vital process for life, converting light energy into organic material. To demonstrate this, a potted plant with variegated leaves can be kept in a dark room for 3 days to consume the leaf's starch. Subsequently, the plant can be kept in sunlight for 6 hours and the green areas of the leaf can be marked onto a sheet of paper. Boiling the leaf to make it soft, followed by dipping it in alcohol and then heating it in a water bath, can help remove the chlorophyll from it. Finally, dipping the leaf in diluted iodine solution will only show the green areas turning blue-black, thus proving that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. The experiment demonstrates the crucial role of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. 2 potted plants were kept in a dark room for 3 days and then both were placed on glass plates. One plant was covered with a bell jar containing potassium hydroxide, which absorbs carbon dioxide, while the other was exposed to sunlight. After the experiment, the leaf of the plant kept in the jar without carbon dioxide did not show the presence of starch, which reveals that carbon dioxide is a vital component for photosynthesis. Animals are heterotrophs, needing organic compounds like proteins, carbohydrates and lipids for sustenance. Nutrition in animals is categorized into 2 functions, ingestion and absorption. Ingestion entails the consumption of food, while absorption involves the breakdown of food molecules into assimilable proportions. An example of a unicellular animal is the amoeba, which lives in water and ingests sustenance by forming finger-like extensions known as pseudopodia. Food is then enclosed in a food vacuole for the purpose of digestion and absorption. Undigested food particles are sent out of the cell thereafter. Humans rely on the digestive system to obtain nutrition. This process involves the alimentary canal and glands that create enzymes to break down food into smaller molecules. Multiple organs and glands make up the digestive system, including the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine and anus, along with the salivary glands, gastric glands, the liver, pancreas and intestinal glands. All of these come together to digest food and provide the human body with the nutrition it needs. Digestion is an important part of life. It starts with breaking down food into smaller particles by the teeth and saliva in the mouth. This is followed by the esophagus carrying the food to the stomach where gastric juice helps to break down proteins while also making the environment acidic and protecting the stomach walls. The duodenum is the upper part of the small intestine and is where bile from the liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas help to break down fats. In the small intestine, intestinal juice containing enzymes further break down carbohydrates, fats and proteins. The small intestine walls have villi with blood vessels which increase the surface area for the absorption of the food, and then the blood can transport it to cells in the body. Any remaining undigested food passes into the large intestine, where water is absorbed and waste disposed. Respiration is an essential process for all living beings. It is the method by which the cells of the body use oxygen to break down food and convert it into energy. This energy is then stored as ATP molecules, and when the cells require energy, the ATP is broken down in the presence of water to form ADP and release the energy. Respiration is a must for any life to exist, as it is the mechanism allowing organisms to get the energy they need to stay alive. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration are 2 types of respiration. Aerobic respiration is carried out in the presence of oxygen and produces more energy. The end products are carbon dioxide, water and energy. It occurs in most organisms and involves conversion of glucose into pyruvate in the cytoplasm and then into carbon dioxide, water and energy in the mitochondria. Anaerobic respiration, on the other hand, takes place in the absence of oxygen and produces less energy. Its end products are lactic acid or ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy. This type of respiration is seen in muscle cells and yeast. In muscle cells, glucose is converted into pyruvate in the absence of oxygen and further into lactic acid and energy. In yeast, glucose is converted into pyruvate and, without oxygen, pyruvate is converted into ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy, a process known as fermentation. Glucose breakdown through different pathways is of crucial importance for life. Aerobic respiration, which occurs in the presence of oxygen, leads to the release of carbon dioxide, water and energy. In the absence of oxygen, the breakdown of glucose is accomplished through anaerobic respiration, resulting in the production of lactic acid and energy. Fermentation, which can occur with or without oxygen, is utilized by yeast cells and is also a means of glucose breakdown. All three of these pathways provide the energy necessary for the functioning of living organisms. Our respiratory system is made up of various organs for the purpose of maintaining human life. These organs include nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs and diaphragm. They cooperate to allow us to inhale the oxygen necessary for our survival and exhale the carbon dioxide created. Nutrition is also a vital process for sustaining human life. Breathing is a fundamental part of life. Our respiratory system is composed of intricate structures beginning with the nostrils. Our nostrils contain small hairs and mucus which filter out particles we do not want to inhale. The air then passes through the pharynx, larynx and trachea before branching off into the bronchi. These bronchi then end in alveoli, tiny air sacs equipped with blood vessels. It is at the alveoli that gas exchange takes place due to its extensive surface area. Breathing is vital for our survival and our bodies are marvelously designed for this purpose. The process of breathing involves a cycle of muscular contractions and relaxations. When the diaphragm muscles contract and move downward upon inhalation, the chest cavity expands and fresh air is drawn into the lungs. Upon exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward, causing the chest cavity to contract and expel air from the lungs. Maintaining a healthy supply of air in the lungs is essential for life and is a fundamental part of the body's vital functions. Transportation in the human body is an intricate and important process. The circulatory system is responsible for transporting essential elements around the body. Blood consists of components including plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Plasma facilitates transportation of food, water, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste and other products. Red blood cells transfer oxygen to cells in the body. White blood cells protect the body from dangerous microbes. Platelets assist with clotting of blood and control the amount of blood lost when wounded. Arteries and veins transport either impure or pure blood to and from the heart, and capillaries are narrow blood vessels connecting arteries and veins that allow the exchange of oxygen, food, water and other molecules between the blood and cells. The heart is an organ that pumps blood to the body. It has two upper chambers called atria and two lower chambers called ventricles. The atria receive blood from veins and the ventricles pump it out towards the body. To separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, the atria and ventricles are separated by a septum. Additionally, there are valves between the chambers to prevent the flow of blood in the wrong direction. guaranteeing that all blood is being directed in the correct way to the various organs and tissues in the body. Human heart is an amazing organ, essential for providing vital oxygen and nutrients to the body. Its size is similar to a clenched fist and pumps 2,000 gallons of blood to over 60,000 miles of blood vessels each day. Every beat sends out 5 to 30 milliliters of blood that helps the body absorb the needed oxygen and nutrients. This is done through two pathways, the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit. In the pulmonary circuit, oxygen-depleted blood is taken to the lungs and is oxygenated before returning to the heart. The systemic circuit then sends the oxygenated blood to the aorta to supply the body with fuel and nutrients. Without the heart's pumping action, the body would not be able to transport oxygen and nutrients, resulting in serious health issues. The heart plays a crucial role in sustaining life as it functions as the engine of the body. It is responsible for pumping oxygenated blood to all the parts of the body, supplying every cell with the oxygen and other necessary elements it needs. The oxygenated blood is then returned to the heart via the veins and then to the lungs again for oxygen replenishment. This process of circulating the blood is known as double circulation. Alongside the blood, lymph is also circulated in the body. Lymph is a clear fluid present in the spaces between cells, and it is formed from the plasma which escapes from the capillaries. Lymph is transported through a network of vessels and is composed of lymphocytes, aiding the body to combat any harmful organisms. All these functions are in unison necessary for the survival of the living organism. The heart is an essential organ responsible for circulating blood and oxygen throughout the body. In mammals, birds, and other vertebrates, the heart has 4 chambers separating oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, which is necessary since they must use energy to keep their body temperature stable. Amphibians and reptiles possess a 3-chamber heart which allows some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated, as no energy is required to maintain their temperature. Fish have a 2-chamber heart and rely on their gills to oxygenate their blood. Transportation is a vital process for any organism, including plants. In plants, water, food, and minerals are transported via xylem and phloem, 2 specialized conducting tissues. Xylem vessels and tracheids transport water and minerals from the roots to other parts of the plant through a suction force created by transpiration. Meanwhile, phloem transports proteins and sugars to the different parts of the plant. Altogether, xylem and phloem create a streamlined system of transportation for essential materials throughout the plant. Phloem is an essential element for a plant's internal systems to sustain life. It works in a manner comparable to a highway system, carrying nourishment from the leaves to the other parts of the plant. The phrase used to describe this process is translocation. The phloem comprises sieve tubes and companion cells, with food from the leaves being moved to the xylem by the power of ATP molecules. Osmotic pressure assists in the transport of food by inducing water to enter the phloem. Therefore, the phloem is essential for a plant to receive the necessary nutrition to survive. Organisms, from microscopic to giant, need energy for existence. To obtain it, components of food or other fuels must be processed, resulting in the creation of wastes. In the case of single-celled creatures, these wastes are diffused away. When it comes to multicellular organisms, the task is handled by dedicated organs known as excretory organs. Such organs are the kidney, liver, and lungs, all essential in maintaining equilibrium and enabling organisms to live. The human excretory system is an incredibly complex network of organs, filtration systems, and tubes that work together to eliminate metabolic waste and toxins from the body. It consists of a pair of kidneys, which are bean-shaped organs found on either side of the spine, a pair of ureters, which are tubes that connect the kidneys to the urinary bladder, the urinary bladder itself, and the urethra, which is a tube that transfers the waste from the bladder out of the body. Inside the kidneys are thousands of tiny excretory units called nephrons, which filter the blood to remove toxins and then release them via urine. This process of filtration and excretion helps keep the body healthy and functioning properly. Plants have an additional method of expelling waste products, which is exudation. Exudation is the process of releasing substances from living cells. These substances, called exudates, contain various substances like lipids, proteins, starch, and resins. Resins are hardened compounds that are formed by the combination of lipids and organic molecules. They are typically found on the surface of leaves, bark, and twigs, and can be used to protect the plant from environmental stressors. Resins are exuded out of the plant cells and are expelled into the environment.